member can be shunned away, thrown into a pile of garbage because they are unwell. And this is really calling for people, asking for stricter action to be taken against those who neglect their family members.
Absolutely, strict action to be taken against those who neglect their family members is the echo, is the sentiment among people here. Very, very shocking incident from Mumbai. A 60-year-old woman was dumped in a pile of garbage in Goregaon East area. It was the locals who found her dumped there, after which police officials were informed. Police officials went to the spot, really rescued her, saved her from there, put her in a hospital. Later got to know that she was suffering from skin cancer. She had wounds all over her face. She was suffering, but despite her health, severe health complication and condition, she was dumped there. When asked, she said that it was her own grandson who literally dumped her there. So now the police is, of course, investigating what exactly transpired, what exactly happened, what were the issues as far as her family members are concerned. But as of now, all they have is her address where her family members are not present. So they are trying to ascertain whether what she said is true, whether it was indeed her family member who abandoned her, and also trying to ascertain who these people are. So yes, strict action will be taken and FIR will be lodged if it's found that it was indeed her family member who dumped her as a result of a health condition. But as far as her health is concerned, yes, she is hospitalized. She's undergoing treatment. Initially, she was not being taken into many of the hospitals. Finally, it was Cooper Hospital that admitted her there, despite she being accompanied by police. So that shows the state of affairs at this point in terms of, giving health care is concerned, and also, as far as the treatment of a 60-year-old woman in this situation goes. But yes, we'll have to see what transpires when the investigation comes out. But as of now, she's told police officials that it is indeed her grandson who did this to her. Certainly a very, very shocking case, and a very inhuman one at that.
And she was also denied admission in various hospitals given her condition. It was finally Cooper Hospital, like you mentioned, that took her in. But what's really shocking is her family member, her own grandson, that, basically dumped his grandmother in this pile of garbage in Mumbai. Well, Radhika, stay with us for our next story as well. And one of Bollywood's biggest stars has just revealed that behind that swag, that stardom and that signature walk is pain. Salman Khan, who has revealed on Kapil Sharma's talk show, he's spoken about his serious health conditions that he has been battling with. We have Radhika Ramaswamy joining us to get us more. Radhika, take us through the disclosure that has been made. And, when we're talking about critical neurological diseases that the actor has been suffering from, and it has been a while, but it's finally the actor who has spoken about this, saying that the show must go on, and that he continues to break his bones in the name of his work, but work shouldn't suffer while he continues to battle the symptoms of his disease.
Absolutely, it is quite tragic. Salman Khan undergoing some serious health complications, something he's opened up about in that candid conversation in that particular television show. He's spoken about multiple issues that he's been dealing with, all of them neurological in nature, one of them being brain aneurysm, which is sort of bulge in the brain that leads to stroke and also other complications as well, and also shooting pain across his body as a result of these neurological complications. So he's opened up about that, also going on to say that he's taking care of his health. Perhaps these are stress-induced and lifestyle-induced as well, but we know that Salman Khan had been undergoing a lot of personal issues, personal crisis in terms of his close friend Baba Siddiqui dying, and of course the threats that had been issued to him, because of which he was under a lot of scrutiny and limelight. He was in fact given immense security over the last couple of years. He was issued threats allegedly by Lawrence Bishnoi gang. There were multiple cases, multiple people arrested in connection to those cases as well. So yes, perhaps it is stress-induced is what several of the doctors are saying, considering what he went through over the last few months. And now really he's taking care of his health. He's doing his regular exercise. Of course, he's been synonymous with the fitness and a healthy lifestyle. So that is something he's continuing to do. And therefore, he will be able to sort of come out of what he's going through health-wise, is something several of the experts and doctors have been saying. But certainly very distressing news for Salman Khan fans, and he's of course been very open and vocal about the health conditions. And to know more, we have the special report that has been filed.
Salman Khan, a name synonymous with action, charisma, and box office blockbusters. But few knew what the superstar was actually enduring behind the scenes, until now. On Kapil Sharma's talk show, Salman made a rare and vulnerable revelation. "I'm out here breaking my bones every day. Ribs are fractured. I'm working despite having a trigeminal neuralgia. There's an aneurysm in the brain, yet I'm still working. There's also an AV malformation and still I'm carrying on," the actor said, describing how he continues to work despite multiple serious conditions. His words left fans stunned, especially the mention of a brain aneurysm, a condition that could turn critical without warning. So what exactly is a brain aneurysm? Aneurysm is a condition where there is a weakness in the wall of the artery, which leads to the outpouching of the wall of an artery, creating a small balloon-like structure called an aneurysm. While brain aneurysms are relatively common, often discovered incidentally during imaging for other conditions, not all of them can rupture. However, when they do, the consequences are severe. One of the most alarming features of a ruptured aneurysm is the sudden intense headache, often described as the worst headache of one's life.
Brain aneurysm is in news because of Salman Khan's admission that he's suffering from it. But what is brain aneurysm? Brain aneurysm is a condition which is caused by weakness in the wall of arteries that carry blood to the brain, leading to an outpouching or a balloon-like structure from those arteries. Because the wall of the artery is stretched, these aneurysms are prone to rupture, and they are the commonest cause of non-traumatic subarachnoid hemorrhage in the world. About 2 to 5% people in India suffer from brain aneurysms, but mostly unruptured aneurysms go undiagnosed.
Salman also revealed he suffers from terminal neuralgia, a chronic pain condition affecting the nerve that carries sensation from the face to the brain. The pain is often described as stabbing electric shock-like jolts triggered even by mild activities like brushing or chewing. And if that wasn't enough, he also has an AV malformation, a rare abnormal tangle of blood vessels in the brain. Despite all this, Salman remains unstoppable, continuing his film shoots, hosting reality shows, and meeting fans. While fans often call him Bhai, this revelation shows the fight he carries within, not just on screen, but off it too. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Breaking news coming in regard to the Union Energy Ministry. They're agreeing to set up a nuclear power plant in the state of Bihar. A nuclear power plant will be set up in Bihar is what the Union Energy Minister Manohar Lal Khattar has gone on to say, that the Bihar government should set up a nuclear power plant and the central government is ready to help in that regard. So this is the state of Bihar that is, going to be getting set and ready for that first nuclear power plant that is going to be taking place. Bihar is set to become the home as far as the eastern part of India is concerned for the first nuclear power plant, with plans to generate energy from uranium as well as others in the state of Bihar. Prabhakar, my colleague, joining us. Prabhakar, get us all the details of what really transpired during that power ministry conference that took place with the state there demanding nuclear power, and this is something that's coming up just ahead of the elections in the state.
Exactly, and that becomes very, very significant because the elections is around the corner, and Manohar Lal Khattar, who happens to be the Union Power Minister, is in Patna today holding a meeting with the energy ministers of different states, especially the ministers from the eastern states, that is Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, and Andaman Nicobar. So all the states, all these states have been represented by their power ministers and also the secretaries of power of various states. And there is a regional meeting of the power ministry which is going on at Patna as we speak. And the Bihar government had put up a proposal and rather demanded that the Bihar is facing a power crisis. and it needs a nuclear power plant as far as the capacity of the power consumption state is concerned. And to that demand, the union minister agreed and said that the union government, especially the union power ministry, is all willing to help out Bihar in setting up a power plant. And he gave a consent in principle that Bihar would very soon have a nuclear power plant. The modalities of this has not been discussed yet. That would be discussed at a later stage. But in principle, the Union Power Ministry has agreed that Bihar would have a nuclear power plant as far as the setting of a new plant is concerned. And as to whether the center or the state, what is the proportion of the money which they would invest, these modalities would be discussed at a later stage.
Those finer details will emerge at a later point in time. Thank you so much, Prabhakar, for getting us breaking news of nuclear power plant that has now been announced. This will be the first nuclear power plant as far as the eastern part of the country is concerned, and Bihar all set to get that first nuclear power plant. Now, after repeated delays, it's NASA that's gone on to announce that Indian astronaut group captain Shubhanshu Shukla could fly to space, and that's going to be taking place tomorrow. This is the latest new date that has been announced by NASA. This is the shortest turnaround time from announcing a new date and the targeted launch that NASA has gone on to talk about. This marks the 6th new date that NASA has finally announced. Now, do remember, this is going to be NASA along with the Axiom Space and the SpaceX that are now targeting tomorrow, which is going to be taking place Indian Standard Time at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 12:01 to be precise, as far as the launch is concerned of the 4th private astronaut mission to the International Space Station. This is the Axiom Mission 4 that's going to be taking off, and this is going to be taking place tomorrow after multiple delays that we have seen in the NASA mission. And this is now NASA announcing the shortest turnaround when it comes to the Axiom 4 mission, in which it will be Shubhanshu Shukla's mission that's likely to take place tomorrow at precisely 12:01 p.m. from the Kennedy Space Center.
In 1984, an Indian Air Force pilot left Earth and entered legend. Rakesh Sharma's flight into space wasn't just a mission, it was a movement. 41 years later, another Indian pilot is strapping in and lifting off. From Soyuz to SpaceX, from Sharma to Shukla, from nostalgia to next gen. He launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome on 2nd April 1984 aboard Soyuz T-11. He trained in Russia, he spoke in Hindi, and he floated in space, 300 kilometers above Earth. Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma became the first Indian in space and instantly a national hero. And then came that exchange which became a legend.
ऊपर से भारत कैसा दिखता है आपको?
जी मैं बगैर किसी झिझक के कह सकता हूँ कि सारे जहां से अच्छा।
सारे जहां से अच्छा दोस्ता।
That wasn't just an answer, it became India's space anthem. 41 years of waiting. India didn't stop exploring space. We launched rockets, we reached Mars, we built satellites. But for 41 years, no Indian returned to space. No one followed Sharma until now. Meet Shubhanshu Shukla, an IAF test pilot just like Sharma, fiercely trained, laser-focused, and now India's newest astronaut. He's flying on the Axiom Mission 4, a commercial space flight but powered by SpaceX and NASA. Axiom calls him wicked smart, India calls him a comeback. Let's compare the journey. Sharma flew on Truce manual systems, Russian commands. Shukla will fly on Crew Dragon touchscreen controls, AI-backed monitoring. In 1984, we had one astronaut and one mission. In 2025, we have one goal to become a space power. Subhanshu Shukla will lift off from the Kennedy Space Center. But for us, this is personal. He's not just flying to space, he's carrying the weight of 4 decades of waiting, the hope of 1.4 billion people, and the pride of a flying legacy. This isn't just a space mission, it's a national moment, a bridge between past and future. Rakesh Sharma opened the door, Subhanshu Shukla walked through it. Rakesh Sharma told us India looked beautiful from space. Subhanshu Shukla will look down and see how far we've come. From Sare Jahan Se Acha to Sare Jahan Se Aage.
In other news, at the Adani Group's annual general meeting, Gautam Adani emphasized the Adani Group's role in shaping India's future. He began by paying a tribute to the troops who guarded our borders and hailed Operation Sindoor. He also spoke about India valuing peace. But if someone shows us an eye, we know how to respond, is what Gautam Adani had to say. Let's listen in.
I stand here today not as a chairman, but as a fellow citizen, humbled by the silent sacrifices of those who guard our borders, our families, and our dignity. This year, during Operation Sindoor, our brave men and women in uniform stood tall, not for fame, not for medals, but for duty. Their courage reminded us that peace is never free. It is earned. And that the freedom to dream, to build, and to lead stands firmly on the shoulder of those who protect.
Gautam Adani there, healing Operation Sindoor. And with that, it's a wrap on this bulletin. My colleague Gauri Dwivedi will be here with the very latest on the other side. But for latest updates and breaking news, don't forget to subscribe to our NDTV YouTube channel as well.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
50 years of the emergency.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है.
India's darkest hour, June 25th, 1975. Lest we forget. The emergency. NDTV rewinds when democracy was suspended.
लोकतंत्र का गला घोट दिया गया था. भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई.
Indira Gandhi's assault on freedom. An NDTV special, Wednesday, June 25th.
The last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Genzol Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong, and transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
The company claimed it would roll out 6,400 electric vehicles. But what it has rolled out is a shocking scam. Funds meant for the project were funneled allegedly back to the promoters, the Junkie brothers. What did the money buy? Not EVs, of course, but a lavish flat in Gurgaon's luxurious DLF Carmelias.
A very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching NDTV. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. Over the course of the next 60 minutes, we'll get you all the big stories, including the latest that's unfolding in the Middle East with the ceasefire all set to now completely break apart. But first up, the headlines as always. Israel accuses Iran of ceasefire violations. Israeli Defense Minister orders powerful strikes on Tehran. US President Donald Trump says the ceasefire between Iran and Israel is in effect and urges both nations not to violate the same. Even as the ceasefire is in effect, Iran fires multiple missiles at Israel right ahead of the ceasefire, killing 7 in southern Israel. NDTV reports from the missile-hit region of Beersheba. Iran's missiles have killed 7 people in Israel. NDTV cameras capture the destruction in Israel right here for you viewers. India's superstar shares health challenges. Salman Khan battles brain aneurysm. We come back, we talk more on what this means and what can we do in terms of the health condition. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla will head to space tomorrow. The 24-hour countdown begins for Axiom 4 mission. Viewers, the latest that's unfolding in the Middle East is that Israel has ordered attacks on Iran after ceasefire violation. That's the latest updates. If you're tuning in right now, viewers, there was a ceasefire agreement that was thrashed out by Donald Trump, who announced it first. Hours into it, the Iranian missiles were seen across several cities in Israel. And while the ceasefire was in effect, fresh barrage of missiles have struck in several parts of Israel. Now, what does this mean in terms of the ceasefire agreement? Well, Israel has said that it is going to retaliate as well, respond with strikes as well. Now, whatever happened to the peace agreement, well, it stands
almost in deep question right now, given the fact that all parties are unlikely, or at this stage are unlikely to follow it. To know more about what this means and to understand what's really the situation on ground, my colleagues Shiv Arur and Ankit Tyagi have spoken and bring out this report. Listen in.
Ankit, it looks like that ceasefire has completely vaporized. Nobody knows what Trump or Iran were really talking about, but any window of opportunity to wind down tensions appears to be straight out the window. You've seen the biggest damage in Beersheba, and Israel has just announced a big counter-retaliation, Ankit.
Absolutely. It just took 2.5 hours from 7 a.m. when the ceasefire was supposedly in place, and since then, continuous blaring of the sirens here in Israel to, in fact, throw that ceasefire out of the window, Shiv, as you described it. But very quickly, let me show you, from this vantage point that we are in, the cost of the war. And this is exactly what happened, which was supposedly the last counter-attack that Iran had launched here in Israel to try and diffuse tensions post this. But this apartment building behind me took the direct hit, and at this moment what you are seeing is a massive cleanup operation which is going on by the soldiers of the IDF. I can see a full unit in combat gear. It's heartbreaking. Somebody just tossed a soft toy, a teddy bear. If you can see on my screens at this moment, that soldier, that lady, in fact, taking it away. It must have been in somebody's house in the buildings that were impacted, and which has just come out. Now imagine the death and destruction which has taken place, which was supposedly the last few hours of the hostilities, and this tells you how lives that people had built. This is a proper residential area here in Beersheba, with buildings after buildings, high rises all across, and what you see at this moment is what used to be a building. This is all that remained of the direct impact that took place on this 8-story building, which was in the two apartments right under the terrace, the roof, and both of them have collapsed. Apartments under that have also collapsed, and what you are seeing is the signs of destruction that took place in this residential area in the barrage that in fact was witnessed a while back. Now, Shiv, while you are saying that there is announcement of retaliation from Israel as well, the hope here was that till 7 p.m. There would be cessation of the hostilities, and after that, of course, the Israeli government is going to make some big announcement. Now, all that seems to be at this moment standing on a very, very fragile ground, and we will have to wait and see. It once again will prove that somehow the announcement, or the rushed announcement, possibly by the President of the United States, was without going into the finer details with both the Israeli side and the Iranian side, so that this could have been a longer, peace, at least between both the sides who have been involved in these hostilities for the last 12 days, Shiv.
That window of opportunity has completely ended right now, and this seems to be the third big occasion, Ankit, in the last few days and weeks, where something that Trump has actually announced has turned out to be completely the opposite. He had talked about peace in Russia and Ukraine, and we saw that deep strike conducted by Ukraine. He talked about a de-escalation between Iran and Israel. That didn't happen. He talked about a Nobel Peace Prize, and then he went and bombed Iran. This doesn't seem to be a season of consistency as far as the American leadership is concerned, but the exchange between Iran and Israel at this point of time comes a day after an attack on a US base in Qatar. At least on that front, things have sort of wound down, Ankit. The Iran versus US element of this entire escalation, that appears to have stopped. There's no forward movement there. All the action is where you are.
Absolutely, you are bang on. That it also looked like that this whole thing that happened yesterday, with multiple US bases coming under the fire from the Iranian missiles, which largely were in fact diffused and were neutralized by the air defenses, as Donald Trump said. It more or less was somewhat a show that was put up so that both Iran and United States actually could get an off-ramp of this crisis. They did not want to continue. Donald Trump knew that he's not going to get that sort of support in America if they actually have to put boots on grounds or have to be drawn in this conflict. Remember, he came to power this time saying that he's going to bring United States out of all the global conflicts that the United States is involved in. And then, of course, with bombing of those bases, nuclear bases and installations in Iran, it was absolutely the opposite that Mr. Trump has promised to his constituents. But it's after what happened yesterday, there was some sort of flimsy expectation that peace may, in fact, be ensued. And if that would have happened, Donald Trump would have, in fact, gone to the town saying that he has once again resolved another conflict, another crisis. But with what has happened this morning and what continues to happen now, because, in northern Israel, there have been sirens which have gone on again. And as you are reporting that the Israeli army, the IDF, has already said that they are engaging in counter-retaliation in retaliation of these attacks from Iran. It seems that the opportunity and this little glimmer of hope has completely now been thrown, or at least is buried under the rubble of where I'm standing, Shiv, where you are seeing these visuals of destruction and death which has come in from Israel at this moment, where a massive operation from the rescuers is still on, which it will tell you that, that 7 p.m. deadline, not only that deadline now stands on its head. We now don't know the current session, the current round of hostilities for how long will it go on, because it has already been 12 days. And if this continues, if Israel retaliates, then of course we can expect retaliation from the Iranian side as well. It's the domestic audience for which at this moment the entire play of war is going on. Where is the full stop is something that is anybody's guess.
Ankit, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to urge you to move your position, because I know it isn't safe. There are rescue and relief operations happening, but your safety is paramount. So we're going to ask you to, move as much as possible. But a very quick final question before I let you go, Ankit, is this. You are in Israel at a time when Iranian missiles are landing at locations right behind you. That's number one. Number two, Israel is about to retaliate, and therefore this is a country that you're reporting from that is on the highest state of military alert at this point of time. Air bases, military bases, drone bases, which are not very far from where you are in Beersheba, will also be on a very high state of alert. But most importantly, like you said, the death toll in Israel as a result of these Iranian strikes is something that has never actually been seen before. Iranian attacks with missiles and drones have usually targeted areas that are not population centers. This time they have specifically targeted population centers, and that's why things are different. And that's why what you're seeing on the ground hasn't been seen for many, many decades, Ankit.
Absolutely. This time, there have been, while you were speaking about this, I just went back to a day before where in Tel Aviv, there was, we showed you the shopping center and the residential area where the attack took place. And I spoke to one person who was taking the stuff out from his daughter's residence, which was impacted. And this is exactly what he said. He said, we are ready to pay the price in terms of the buildings. They can be rebuilt. But if lives are lost, this is not something that the Israelis are ready to stand by with. And that is exactly what has happened this morning. And also during this entire conflict, I will have to once recheck, but if I stand correct, if I remember correctly, the death toll throughout the 12 days now in Israel stands over 25. So between 25 to 29 is the number of dead this time in this conflict has been. And that takes a huge amount of toll and also pressure as far as the government is concerned for any kind of step back. The Iranian, of course, there have been retaliations and there have been a lot of destruction in Iran as well. But reporting from the country where I am in at this moment, that it becomes a very important figure for any sort of decision to go forward, which can be taken by Benjamin Netanyahu. Just earlier, just before these raid sirens, the alert sirens were sounded off in northern Israel, there was expectation from the Prime Minister's office. A full statement came in that objectives have been achieved. The Prime Minister is going to make a statement. He will speak to the people of Israel. Now that seems he would be in a very, very difficult position if even he was thinking of coming out and announcing some sort of ceasefire with what has happened, Shiv.
Ankit, a small final question before I let you go. The people that you're speaking to, the rescue staff, the first responders who are there in all of those places right now, military reservists that you're seeing, come out of vacation or wherever they are to serve their country. That is one thing you're seeing everywhere in Israel. I notice it's there in almost every frame that you're sending us as well. This is clearly a country that is in its highest state of alert, where citizens are pitching in as well.
I can tell you one thing, and this was my first time in Israel, and that too under the most trying circumstances. I have never seen any other place where people are so prepared for a situation like this. Nobody wants a war, but like we go since morning, 4 times we had to run to the bomb shelters, and within moments, as soon as the raid siren goes off, people are back doing what they are. Every location of impact that I have been to, apart from, of course, the government agencies, the reservists, the forces, and everybody else, there are a group of volunteers that you will see set up tents, helping people, giving them directions, helping them clean out their houses or whatever is left of their houses. So it is a country which has seen conflicts after conflicts, and the result of that, of course, is yes, there is tension, yes, there is fear, but it more or less has become part of life, and that is why they are not worried, in a sense, with the kind of impact that it is taking. The only question was that people are extremely serious about the death toll. Once the numbers of the dead start coming in, that's where the pressure starts building in. The buildings being damaged largely don't have the same impact. So this is, at the country at the highest state of alert, and where the people were possibly today hoping that this is going to result in some sort of de-escalation with what has happened now. And like you are pointing out, IDF is preparing for some sort of retaliation towards Iran. That window for the people, those who are hoping that it is not going to be a long-drawn Gaza type of situation, that very little glimmer of hope seems to be completely under the rubble of this building that I'm standing here.
Ankit, amidst all this unfolding chaos, you're doing a terrific job. Stay safe. We will keep coming back to you. Beersheba is the epicenter of the most amount of destruction that is taking place today. Ankit, as always, the first and only reporter on ground bringing you that, and will continue to bring you a factual look on NDTV's cameras of this riveting, suspenseful and unfolding story between Iran and Israel. Iran, remember, has announced a powerful strike on Tehran, the capital of Iran. When that's going to happen, we will let you know. This is a live story that we're tracking right now in real time.
There have been 4 alerts which have been sounded off here. In fact, what we can confirm is that one missile did hit a residential building in Beersheba. As I speak, you can hear the air raid sirens going in. So I will have to make my way out and see if we can find us a safe place. This is the announcement being made. Listen into it. We are coming to you live from this location which was hit in Beersheba, a residential high-rise. Ruins of this building tell you the cost that this war, the 12-day war so far, has taken.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
News is not just headlines. It is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters is the reality. Accurate, in-depth, and with the right perspective. For over 20 years, I have been a journalist, and never has clarity mattered more than now. At Newsnight, we go beyond the surface. We dissect the details, challenge the narratives, and bring you the unparalleled clarity you deserve in a world clouded by misinformation. We are bold, we are direct. Newsnight, for the news in your interest. Only on NDTV 24x7.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24x7.
How often have you turned away from debates that descend into endless fights? We bring you a show where every question is answered, where every debate finds its resolution, where every story finds its conclusion, where opinions collide but facts prevail, where stories unfold with insights and trust. When the noise ends, the last word begins.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24x7. Is your business future ready? Join the 13-week strategic ESG certification program for business sustainability and growth for CXO and business leaders.
While we are talking about the Leeds test, the test match is on the edge. India has set up a very, very thrilling final day. England needs only 350 runs to win this game, whereas India needs 10 wickets. Will Bazball be at play? What is the ground going to look like? Because what we understand is that England has used a heavy roller and they will be tempted to go the Bazball way. Batters and Bumrah set up the test match for India. But today, on the 5th day of the test match, as the test hangs in a balance, there will be an English test for the Indian bowlers. To talk more about how the match is expected to pan out, we have Boria Majumdar joining us from the Leeds cricket ground. Boria, thank you very much for joining us. For a 350 to be scored on the final day, the weather has to be conducive. How does it look like right now? We are about 7-8 minutes from the start of the final day.
Firstly, let me give you an update on the weather. It is still pretty dark, it's still pretty cloudy, though it has brightened up a little bit in the last 20-30 minutes. But that side, which is the side of the stadium, you can see is pretty dark and gloomy. That is what it has been from early morning. The Yorkshire Met Department prediction is for rain at 11, prediction is for rain at 12 o'clock. And now the wind is also starting to pick up. This was not this kind of wind even half an hour, 45 minutes back when I was doing Hindi on your platform. So one can sense these are not great conditions for batting at all. The sun has peaked out, but this is just going to be a fleeting sun. There is chance of rain. These are difficult conditions to bat on.
Interesting, you say it's difficult conditions to bat on. We have seen the team being over-dependent on Jasprit Bumrah in the first innings. Who could you say will be the perfect foil for Bumrah in the conditions of the day today?
India will have to support Jasprit Bumrah. 350 on the last day is a lot of runs. Jasprit Bumrah, there was a news whether on his injury or not. He's very much out there, very much out there. We clarified it with the BCCI media team. He's part of India's team huddle. He's right out there, and there's absolutely no reason why Jasprit Bumrah will not spearhead the attack, and the others will have to put their hands up and back him up. Slightly brightening up, but these are good conditions for Mohammad Siraj, for Prasidh Krishna, for Shardul Thakur, even Ravindra Jadeja using those footmarks. I do think there is enough and more opportunity for India, and they should be able to use it.
Right. Boria, let me also ask you about all the talks about baseball and how the English cricket team has used a heavy roller on the pitch. Do you see baseball being pressed on the final day, in the final session?
If you ask me who wins, I will say India at this point in time, definite favorites. If the rain holds off, if there is rain interruption, there will certainly be no 90 overs of game. If there is, England will say, okay, 4 runs and over. But these are tough conditions to bat. I will say 60-40 India going into this final day. First session, absolute key. If England gets off to a flyer different, these are tough conditions, boss. The wind has picked up. If India gets 2-3 wickets with a new ball, first session, certainly India. If you ask me, 60-40 India.
Well, the wind has picked up. Doesn't look like Boria has been able to get my question. The question was around baseball, but he does say that there is a prediction of India winning 60-40, England winning 40%, because you see England has to make 350 runs on the final day, which is a tall task, and India has to get 10 wickets. But what really happened in this test match for the day 5 to become so thrilling? There have been 5 centuries scored by the Indians in this test match, 2 of them alone by Rishabh Pant. Let's have a look at how day 4 panned out and what led to a very, very exciting final day. The day truly belonged to India. KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant putting up a box office show. While Rahul brought out some majestic stroke plays, displaying calm, on the other end was all power, all emotion, Pant opening his account with boundaries in both the innings. He mixed caution with aggression to bring up his 16th test half-century in 83 balls, then started rushing towards his second successive test done in the Leeds test.
And again, this time flatter, but the same result.
KL Rahul notched up a well-deserved 100 after being dropped. He worked hard, weathered the storm and displayed some classical test cricket. Rishabh Pant curbed his instincts in 90s to bat out for his 8th test 100, followed by a Dele Alli-like celebration. The little master in the stands asking him for a cartwheel repeat. Pant became only the 5th batter for India to score 200s in the same test away from home, and the only Indian wicketkeeper to do so. He cut loose after his 100, scoring 118.
This time the catch will be taken, and Rishabh Pant's wonderful, exhilarating.
KL Rahul's serenity on the drives was coupled with wearing 3 blows to the glove. He scored 137, putting India firmly in control of the opening test.
Here at Headingley today, a fantastic performance.
India scored 364 in the second innings, setting England a target of 371 to win on the final day. Roughly an over rate of 3.7 per over if 100 overs were to be bowled. Now, Rishabh Pant has been in the news for all good reasons and a few wrong reasons as well. Now, the Indian wicketkeeper was handed a demerit point after he admitted showing dissent towards the umpire during the first test. He was deemed to have committed a level 1 offence by the ICC under Article 2.8 of the Code of Conduct. The incident occurred in the 61st over of England's first innings on day 3 of the ongoing test when Harry Brook and Ben Stokes were batting. Pant was seen having a discussion with the on-field umpires Paul Rifle and Chris Gaffney. In relation to the condition of the ball, Pant was reprimanded because he showed dissent at the umpire's decision. That's it. We have, for now, time for a tiny break on the show. More on the other side with Gauri. Stay tuned.
There have been 4 alerts which have been sounded off here. In fact, what we can confirm is that one missile did hit a residential building in Beersheba. As I speak, you can hear the air raid sirens going in. So I will have to make my way up and see if we can find us a safe place. This is the announcement being made. Listen into it. We are coming to you live from this location which was hit in Beersheba, a residential high-rise. Ruins of this building tell you the cost that this war, the 12-day war so far, has taken.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
There have been 4 alerts which have been sounded off here. In fact, what we can confirm is that one missile did hit a residential building in Beersheba. As I speak, you can hear the air raid sirens going in. So I will have to make my way up and see if we can find us a safe place. This is the announcement being made. Listen into it. We are coming to you live from this location which was hit in Beersheba, a residential high-rise. Ruins of this building tell you the cost that this war, the 12-day war so far, has taken.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of maximum city is infectious. I'm bringing that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti, also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
India's IT capital is always bustling, a city full of startups, stories and surprises. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever.
Breaking news coming in on the broadcast, turning attention to the latest that's happening in Karnataka, where there seems to be rumbles in the Karnataka Congress unit. It's the third MLA that's speaking out in 5 days. It seems that several MLAs are now hinting at a change of guard in Karnataka Congress. And could that be DK Shivakumar taking over from Chief Minister Siddaramaiah? What is this about the reasons why more and more MLAs are now speaking out against Siddaramaiah, and could that really happen? Well, this has started, this entire issue has in fact been started with Congress MLA Basavaraju Shivaganga. Let's play out that soundbite for you and then we come back and talk more on that.
ಹಣೆ ಬರೆದಾಗ ಏನು ಬರೆದಿದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರು ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ ನಂತರ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಉಳ್ಕಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಅದಾಗಲಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರು ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಅದಂಗೆ ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ ನಂತರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
All right, let's get in Deepak Bopanna to tell us more about this. Deepak, more and more MLAs are now coming out and speaking out against Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. At least they want a regime change here. What's the buzz really like, and what's the reason for this clamour?
Well, Basavaraj Shivaganga, he is of course an MLA, comes from Davangere district. He's a very close confidant, somebody who's openly shown his support towards DK Shivakumar becoming a chief minister, not once or twice but multiple times. And today as well, he was reacting to multiple issues, and when asked about his prospects of becoming a minister and the change in guard, he again suggests that in December there is going to be a change of guard. In the past as well, he's made a similar statement like this. This time, once again, he's saying that, all our answers will be given in December. And if my boss becomes, the chief minister, he then says that, it is as if he himself becomes a chief minister. So quite an interesting statement coming in at a time when, the Congress is dealing with multiple internal issues, especially several MLAs pointing out at lack of funds, MLAs pointing out at corruption within their own system. And now here you have an MLA talking about a regime change, or at least hinting at it.
All right, Deepak, let's leave it there. Thanks much for bringing us up to speed with the latest that's unfolding in Karnataka. Viewers, if you're tuning in right now, DK Shivakumar, will he take over from Siddaramaiah come December? Well, clamour is growing within Karnataka Congress on that front. All right, viewers, turning attention. All right, viewers, we now once again come back and focus on the Iran-Israel conflict. And while we do, role of Donald Trump, his political capital, has it actually seen an increase, or has he been impacted by the last fortnight developments? So let's put that out, viewers. The question that we are asking is that, is he really come out as a genius in this, or he's actually come out as a joker? And we're going to put out several instances where there's been questionable reasons for us to doubt why he actually made those decisions. First and foremost, you're putting that out both for you to understand, and you can, of course, be a better judge of how and why Donald Trump actually made those decisions. First up, he actually teased peace, and then he spoke and launched the stealth bombers over Iran. He went on and spoke about how peace needs to be given a chance when it comes to negotiations with Iran, and then came the B-2 stealth bombers. Now, that's many believe something that lacks the gravitas that the president of US should be taking decisions with. But the other flip side to that is he actually executed the most precise B-2 strike in decades, all in a matter of a single night. That probably would not have been possible had he not come about playing with several of these antics. Let's move ahead. The other instance where one may doubt whether it was conduct that could have been better, or was he just trying to come out with outcomes that proved that he was a genius. Second such instance, he called Pakistan a peace partner after Operation Sindoor. We all know the bad optics that were at play. In fact, many in Washington questioned why Donald Trump actually came out looking the way he did, because he made comments regarding Pakistan when everyone knew that it was Pakistan-sponsored terrorism that started Operation Sindoor. But the flip side to it is he actually used Pakistan's cooperation to fly the bombers into Iranian skies. The lunch that he had with Asim Munir was about ensuring that US can use Pakistani air bases and to fly the bombers into Iranian skies. Next, the other instance where Trump actually flirted with a Nobel Peace Prize even as global tensions exploded. He's been talking at length about how he's the only one who deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, and he's not really been given one at a time when globally tensions have been rising. But the other side to it is a lot of his supporters feel that he actually played that Nobel card to lull the adversaries before he ordered that Operation Midnight Hammer. So his supporters feel, and that's not just the MAGA brigade, several of Donald Trump's confidants feel that because the president spoke about the Nobel Peace Card and it derailed several of the adversaries, he could actually execute a near perfect Operation Midnight Hammer. And the last thing is that he sent decoy B-2 bombers over the Pacific as a big media spectacle. And in fact, Pete Hegseth also spoke about it along with the Joint Chief of Staff, how this was actually a decoy because the real bombers were being sent eastward to Iran on the 36-hour bombing mission. Again, perfect mission, which happened because a lot of military experts also feel because of the decoy that Donald Trump actually put in place. Not all of it could be only him, but yes, this is the president's political capital that gets a boost. The last such instance where you can see which way do you want to really side with, whether you feel that Donald Trump triggered a global chaos. So with a very questionable diplomatic preparation, he seemed very underprepared. There was no clarity about what will the ceasefire framework really look like. He just announced it on his Truth social handle the way he does all along. But the other side is what his supporters, his confidants and the Trump administration feels is that this has allowed the Trump administration to rewrite the entire Middle East strategic map without actually losing a single American life. And may I add, the first time that America actually has been able to walk out of a Middle East crisis in less than a fortnight. All of President Trump's predecessors went into the Middle East thinking it's going to be weeks and months, and it took years and in fact decades. So that is the other side to it. So one can decide whether what President Trump's decisions were actually he could have done it much better, or this was actually political genius that was coming out in true Trump style. Now on that note, viewers, I want to also now tell you about the fresh visuals that are coming in of American operation, that is the Operation Midnight Hammer. On your screens are the latest visuals that are coming in of the B-2 bombers and the entire strike. There you can see those majestic visuals. Let's get in Shivarur, my colleague, to tell us more about these mean, beautiful machines that Shiv knows more about. And Shiv, these visuals essentially tell the story. Go ahead, tell us more about the first set of visuals that have come about the entire journey. Go ahead.
Now, I really wish that these images also showed the actual terminal phase of Operation Midnight Hammer, but these are evocative, enigmatic, and in one sense really terrifying images of the B-2 Spirit stealth bombers leaving their base right before Operation Midnight Hammer. So these are the first official images released by the US Department of Defense of the exact aircraft that participated in the bombing of those 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. The images are not only the first images of the aircraft that conducted the bombing, they also include images of the aircraft that flew in the other direction, westward over the Pacific, in order to create a deflection or a diversion to actually ensure that the bombing package, the ones that flew eastward towards Iran on that 36-hour epic flight, were able to do their job, while the world's attention was on this other spectacle of the B-2s flying westward over the Pacific. So incredible images of these monstrous aircraft which are completely invisible in the air. The information that's been put out by the Department of Defense also suggests that this was a completely successful mission. These aircraft, these silent sentinels of the Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, is something to remember, because according to official information that's come out from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, is that not a single weapon was fired. There was absolutely not a single detection of these aircraft. And these aircraft are by no means new. They're 3 decades old. They're going to be replaced in a few years from now by an aircraft called the B-21 Raider, which looks very similar but is much more advanced. So these are aircraft that are in the autumn of their lives and yet have conducted one of air power history's most incredible, audacious, risky missions. So these pictures are going to go into the annals of aviation and military history.
All right, Shivarud, my colleague, telling you more about those visuals, the B-2 bombers videos that have been released officially by the US government. In fact, viewers, amidst the growing uncertainty about Iran's nuclear stockpile of 400 kgs of uranium on one side, US Vice President J.D. Vance said that the Iranian uranium stockpile might be buried beneath the 3 enrichment facilities. And Iran has claimed that it secretly moved most of its enriched uranium to an undisclosed location before the US launched those coordinated airstrikes. Now, where did that 400 kilogram of uranium go remains a mystery. And Parveshwar Baba, my colleague, gets you all the details and connects the dots there.
It started with one decision from the US President Donald Trump. The US struck Iran's nuclear sites over the weekend, and just like that, a 20-year-old fear in West Asia has returned. Will the world back Iran or isolate it? Well, we break down who's showing up for Iran and who's quietly waiting it out. Let's start with Donald Trump. He said he'd decide in 2 weeks whether to bomb Iran in support of Israel. Instead, he did it over the weekend. So was that deadline just a diversion? Well, The Atlantic reports that the US had already made up its mind last week. A Trump advisor has said on record to local media that it was a head fake. And now global reactions are also pouring in. Europe, traditionally a voice of diplomacy, is walking a tightrope. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom says Iran must return to the negotiating table. France wants Tehran to renounce nuclear weapons. And Germany claims parts of Iran's program were hit, but no full damage assessment yet. The EU, though, calling for restraint and warning of a humanitarian fallout. But China and Russia, Tehran's biggest backers, aren't mincing words. Beijing slammed the US for violating international law, and Moscow went further, hinting that other countries may now help Iran to get nuclear weapons. And by the way, Dmitry Medvedev, close to Putin, warned, and I quote, Trump may have just started a new war. Israel, though, unsurprisingly cheered the strikes, calling them a pivot in history. Even opposition leaders backed it, and that tells you, in Israel, this wasn't just a military move. It was a political consensus. As far as the Arab Gulf is concerned, it's complicated. Saudi Arabia condemned the strikes, the same Saudi Arabia that had only recently warmed up to Iran. Saudi, in fact, urged restraint and de-escalation. The UAE warned the region could slide into deeper levels of instability. Qatar, which is the globe's third largest exporter of LNG, regretted the deterioration of the situation, while Oman, which sits across the Strait of Hormuz, called the latest moves illegal aggression. And along with Bahrain, they've called for diplomatic approaches and immediate de-escalation. Bahrain, by the way, home to a US base, even issued civilian road alerts, fearing Iran could retaliate. What should India be watching for? Well, the Strait of Hormuz, vital for our oil, now sits on edge. Our energy and our trade routes in the region are caught in this geopolitical crossfire, and the question still stands. Will Iran strike back? And if it does, who will defend it? Because in today's West Asia, friends may speak softly, but foes, well, they strike hard.
All right, more news coming in. French police have detained 12 suspects, over 145 people reportedly being pricked with syringes during the country's annual street music festival. Officials said this happened on Sunday. Millions of people took to the streets across France on Saturday evening for the annual music festival, with authorities reporting unprecedented crowds in Paris. Before the party, posts on Snapchat and other social media had called for targeting women. During the festivities, the Interior Ministry said 145 victims reported being stabbed with needles across the country, with Paris police reporting 13 cases in the capital. All right, a probe into emails threatening blasts at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad and different places in 12 states has unraveled a tale of unrequited love and vengeance. Rini Joshilda, a robotics woman who had allegedly took responsibility to crash Air India plane in Ahmedabad, is behind these threat emails. Gujarat police have arrested the woman. She has allegedly done this to defame a man for rejecting her marriage proposal. The man had married another woman. The accused, Rini Joshilda, decided to avenge the rejection. Police found she had created 21 fake email IDs resembling David's name to send 36 bomb threat mails to schools, colleges, cricket stadiums. She used multiple VPNs, fake IDs and the dark web to hide her identity and location.
Adani Group founder and chairman Gautam Adani addressed investors at the annual general meeting held today. While outlining the group's achievements in the past fiscal, he assured investors that though the road had been rough, the group had emerged victorious through all its trials.
In the face of the storms and relentless scrutiny, the Adani Group has never backed down. Instead, we proved that a true leadership is not built in sunshine. It is constructed in the fire of crisis. This was tested again last year when we faced allegations from the US Department of Justice and the ACC relating to Adani Green Energy. Despite all the noise, the facts are that no one from the Adani Group has been charged with violating the FCPA or conspiring to obstruct justice.
From Trump's tariffs to economic slowdowns of various large economies, the past year has been one of turbulence and uncertainty. Despite all these headwinds, the Adani Group created history, said Chairman Gautam Adani.
Our governance is of global standards and our compliance frameworks are non-negotiable. And our numbers tell their own story. Even in a year of turbulence, we saw record-breaking revenue, unprecedented growth, and historic profitability. We are a proof of a group that dares to dream beyond constraints and powered by a nation that breathes possibility into every tomorrow ahead of us.
He also outlined the important role played by Adani Defence in Operation Sindoor. Listen in.
Operation Sindoor called and we delivered. Our drones became the eyes in the skies as well as the swords of attack, and our anti-drone systems help protect our forces and citizens.
Gautam Adani also laid out the group's plan for the next 5 years, annual capital expenditure of $15 to $20 billion and the group's plans towards helping society.
Our capital investment across businesses is set to break all records. we anticipate an annual capex spend of $15 to $20 billion for the next 5 years. These are not just investment in our group, but investment in the possibilities for doing our part to build India's infrastructure. And before I start wrapping up, let me outline some of the programs that have me the most excited. Exactly 3 years ago, on my 60th birthday, my family pledged rupees 60,000 crore to redefine healthcare, education, and skill development in India. The Adani Healthcare temples are our first major steps, world-class, affordable, 1,000-bed campuses in Ahmedabad and Mumbai with medical colleges, research centers, and wellness spaces all integrated together. Mayo Clinic is our partner in guiding us to create a future-ready, AI-powered, patient-first healthcare ecosystems. In parallel, we have committed rupees 2,000 crores to build a world-class skill university and finishing school in Mundra.
The brand new Navi Mumbai airport is all set to be open for passengers later this year. It is a project that is awe-inspiring in both size as well as scale. With this airport, the group will have 35% of India's airport passenger traffic.
Adani Airports also had a massive year of growth. We handled a record 94 million passengers in FY25. We also completed the first test flight at the Greenfield Navi Mumbai International Airport. This airport will open later this year with an initial passenger capacity of 20 million, of what will then become a 90 million passenger airport, giving us a 35% share of our India's airport passenger traffic.
Years of the emergency.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है.
India's darkest hour, June 25th, 1975. Lest we forget. The emergency. NDTV rewinds when democracy was suspended.
लोकतंत्र का गला घोट दिया गया था. भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई.
Indira Gandhi's assault on freedom. An NDTV special, Wednesday, June 25th. Years of the emergency.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है.
India's darkest hour, June 25th, 1975. Lest we forget. The emergency. NDTV rewinds when democracy was suspended.
लोकतंत्र का गला घोट दिया गया था. भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई।
Indira Gandhi's assault on freedom. An NDTV special, Wednesday, June 25th.
In the last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Genzol Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong, and transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
The company claimed it would roll out 6,400 electric vehicles. But what it has rolled out is a shocking scam. Funds meant for the project were funneled allegedly back to the promoters, the Junkie brothers. What did the money buy? Not EVs, of course, but a lavish flat in Gurgaon's luxurious DLF Carmelias.
News is not just headlines, it is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters is the reality. Accurate, in-depth, and with the right perspective. For over 20 years, I have been a journalist, and never has clarity mattered more than now. At Newsnight, we go beyond the surface. We dissect the details, challenge the narratives, and bring you the unparalleled clarity you deserve in a world clouded by misinformation. We are bold, we are direct. Newsnight, for the news in your interest. Only on NDTV 24x7.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24x7.
How often have you turned away from debates that descend into
Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, late last night said that there is a ceasefire between Iran and Israel. But what is the latest? And is this ceasefire holding up? And for how long? That continues to be our top focus story. A very good evening. I'm Deepthi Sachdeva. Let's quickly get you our headlines on top of the show. There are rumbles in the Karnataka Congress that continue. This is the third MLA speaking out in the last 5 days. The MLA is hinting at a change of guard. There are fresh images of the US's Operation Midnight Hammer. This is a video of the B-2 bombers taking off on the mission. Israel has accused Iran of ceasefire violations. The Israeli Defense Minister orders powerful strikes on Tehran. NDTV reports from the missile hit Beersheba. Iran's missile barrage have killed 7 in Israel. NDTV cameras have captured the moment of destruction.
This is where 4 people lost their life, 5 others were pulled out of the rubble when the rescue workers reached this place.
India's superstar shares his health challenges. Actor Salman Khan is battling brain aneurysm. Group captain Shubhanshu Shukla is heading to space tomorrow. The 24-hour countdown has already begun.
First up, let's get you this quick breaking update coming in. In fact, it's a statement from Indigo that says flight operations in the Gulf are now stable. Flights may take alternate routes. So there is some bit of normalcy that is about to resume as far as a lot of these flight operations are concerned. Let's quickly get in our colleague Vishnu, who has more details. Vishnu, what more can you tell us?
Well, that Indigo information is actually important. We'll reflect that in a moment from now. But the information I have is on Air India. Now, remember, Air India is India's primary carrier when it comes to ultra long haul and long haul routes. They operate flights well into Europe, to the east coast of North America, to the west coast of North America as well. And after Iran struck Qatar yesterday with ballistic missiles, air traffic was shut down over that airspace, in fact over 5 countries late last night. And this was an absolutely nightmarish situation for air carriers around the world, including airlines from India. Air India shut down operations to the Middle East. They shut down all flights to Europe and to the eastern coast of the United States. But at this juncture, what they are now saying is that as a result of the situation progressively resuming, they are restarting their flights to the Middle East and to the east coast of America and to Canada as well. However, some flights may experience delays or cancellations because of consequential impacts and extended reroutings. But be that as it may, and along with the news from Indigo that they are also progressively ramping up their flights, it's excellent news once again for Indian aviation, for those flyers on Indian Airlines. Just remember that the Middle East has millions of Indian nationals, and therefore flight connectivity between India and the Middle East is critical. If that was shut down for an extended period of time, we would have been in real trouble.
All right, Vishnu, they're getting us the latest on that big story. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. For the moment, thank you. And let's also switch our guests to the other story that a lot of you have been talking about, a story that has generated a lot of strong viewpoints. Now, this is about one of Bollywood's biggest stars. And that actor has just revealed that behind the swag, behind the stardom and the signature walk is quite a lot of pain. The actor Salman Khan on the Great Indian Couple show, in fact, has opened up about not one, not two, but 3 serious health conditions that he has been battling.
हमें जो जितनी भी हड्डियां तोड़वा रहे हैं, पसलियां टूट गई, ट्राई जमनाल था न्यूरालजिया, उसके बावजूद काम कर रहे हैं, एनरिज्म है ब्रेन में, उसके बावजूद काम कर रहे हैं, एवी मैलफॉर्मेशन है, उसके बावजूद चल रहे हैं, एक्शन यहाँ से कूदना, वहाँ पर गिरना, चलने को नहीं हो रहा, डांस कर रहे हैं, और ये सब चल रहा है, ये सब साइड में.
Salman Khan, a name synonymous with action, charisma and box office blockbusters. But few knew what the superstar was actually enduring behind the scenes, until now. On Kapil Sharma's talk show, Salman made a rare and vulnerable revelation. "I'm out here breaking my bones every day. Ribs are fractured. I'm working despite having a trigeminal neuralgia. There's an aneurysm in the brain, yet I'm still working. There's also an AV malformation and still I'm carrying on," the actor said, describing how he continues to work despite multiple serious conditions. His words left fans stunned, especially the mention of a brain aneurysm, a condition that could turn critical without warning. So what exactly is a brain aneurysm? Aneurysm is a condition where there is a weakness in the wall of the artery, which leads to the outpouching of the wall of an artery, creating a small balloon-like structure called an aneurysm. While brain aneurysms are relatively common, often discovered incidentally during imaging for other conditions, not all of them can rupture. However, when they do, the consequences are severe. One of the most alarming features of a ruptured aneurysm is the sudden intense headache, often described as the worst headache of one's life.
Brain aneurysm is in news because of Salman Khan's admission that he's suffering from it. But what is brain aneurysm? Brain aneurysm is a condition which is caused by weakness in the wall of arteries that carry blood to the brain, leading to an outpouching or a balloon-like structure from those arteries. Because the wall of the artery is stretched, these aneurysms are prone to rupture, and they are the commonest cause of non-traumatic subarachnoid hemorrhage in the world. About 2 to 5% people in India suffer from brain aneurysms, but mostly unruptured aneurysms go undiagnosed.
Salman also revealed he suffers from trigeminal neuralgia, a chronic pain condition affecting the nerve that carries sensation from the face to the brain. The pain is often described as stabbing electric shock-like jolts triggered even by mild activities like brushing or chewing. And if that wasn't enough, he also has an AV malformation, a rare abnormal tangle of blood vessels in the brain. Despite all this, Salman remains unstoppable, continuing his film shoots, hosting reality shows, and meeting fans. While fans often call him Bhai, this revelation shows the fight he carries within, not just on screen, but off it too. Bureau Report, NDTV.
So what really is this problem all about? What are the symptoms? Are there any do's and don'ts? And what is the larger public message on such issues? How open are we as a society to be discussing a lot of these issues unless they become a taboo? Let's quickly say good evening to Dr. Kaustubh Mahajan, who's a consultant neurologist at the SL Raheja Hospital with us. Also Dr. Nitin Kumar Sethi, who's a neurologist and a clinical neurophysiologist. And also a pleasure to have Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, who's a Padma Shri Awardee Chairman at the MD of the Nephron Clinic. Dr. Bagai, let's begin by asking you, how common is this situation? How common is this problem? How can people find out whether they're dealing with this, or are there possible symptoms?
Is that for me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, good evening. So most of the time, what we see in terms of aneurysm, which is a part of what a larger spectrum known as AV malformations, that's arteriovenous malformations, is a congenital disorder. So most of the time, these children are actually picked up soon after birth or in the first 5 years or 10 years of life. If the aneurysm or the AV malformation is very significant or in a very prominent and a large area of the brain, it can even be diagnosed antenatally. That's in the ultrasounds during the last trimester of pregnancy. The most common presentation is severe pulsatile, intolerable headaches. Sometimes patients can come with seizures, unconsciousness, lack of movement on one half of the body, and rarely it can even bleed. The annual incidence in terms of a risk score is about 4% of all people have some sort of bleed at any given point of time in a year. But if you look at a cumulative lifetime risk factor, it's almost 75 to 80% if you are young. So the risk is real. It's something which we need to manage. It's a diagnosis which is very often missed because the symptoms are masked and the aneurysm or the AV malformation is well within the brain. So if you don't have symptoms outside, perhaps you'll never know that you have something inside.
Okay.
15% of patients worldwide are asymptomatic. So we need a high index of suspicion, early diagnosis. There is treatment available. There is scoring of these aneurysms and AV malformations depending upon the location, size, and propensity towards the sensitive areas of the brain. But like I said, this carries a risk and we need to be careful.
You're saying a lot of these symptoms could be masked, and that's the reason why a lot of people, are not able to figure them out quite early. But Dr. Nitin Kumar Sethi, what should people be doing? And, I think the very fact today that you have an actor who's coming out speaking about this, much like we've seen other actors talking about their health conditions, because, the public perception is that, look, here's a star at the peak of their career doing such great work. That actor can't fall sick. But listen, they're all human beings. Ultimately, the symptoms are similar, and clearly a disease there is a great leveler when it comes to health conditions.
Yeah, Deepti, thank you for having me on your show. You raise important points. So what can we do? As the doctor in front before me said, a lot of times aneurysms or AV malformations in the brain, they remain clinically silent. So for example, let's assume I scan everybody in the hospital right now. Maybe 5-6 people have an aneurysm in the brain or an AVM, and they're not aware of it. And they may never be aware of it. They may live a healthy life, and it may never become symptomatic. On the other hand, as the doctor said, when an aneurysm does rupture, it can be devastating. The whole brain gets filled with blood. you collapse. The mortality is very high. 50% of people who have an aneurysm bleed, at times don't make it to the hospital alive. The ones who do make it to the hospital, a lot of times they will not come out as the same person. They'll be left with weakness, things like that. So I think you raise an important point that when you have high-profile stars like Salman Khan, and they choose to bring out their medical illness in public, whether it's a neurological disorder like AVM or aneurysm, or a mental health disorder like depression, I think we should understand that in a way, they're doing society, I would like to say, a favor. They have the brand name. It's because of that, Salman Khan, that this topic is now being discussed on NDTV. So what can we do? Education, education, education. We make ourselves aware of these things. If people are worried, they can do an MRI or a special MRI of the brain. They can find out if they have an aneurysm or not. MRIs are relatively easy to do. They are non-invasive, no radiation. They can be done. Or you can discuss with your doctor. Not everybody will have an aneurysm, but if you do have an aneurysm, then you can decide which aneurysms need to be treated, which can be watched, and they don't need any intervention. But your doctor might say, listen, every year I want you to get an MRI, because if the aneurysm is growing in size, we might have to do something surgically. So I think what I feel is, that's what Salman Khan brings to the table. It makes people aware of this disease, these conditions. Prevention is always better than cure.
Yes.
If you can prevent an aneurysm from rupturing, if you can prevent an AVM from rupturing, if you can treat a trigeminal neuralgia well, you spare the patient, the family, a lot of suffering and pain.
Okay, I think, Doctor, you make a good point. It's also about awareness. The very fact, Dr. Kaustubh, that you have a star talking about his health condition, talking about this on public platforms so that people can know about this, and not just know about it, but then there is a larger awareness. But are these also a part of a lot of these health checkups that possibly do have, or you still believe that a lot of these health conditions are something that you can figure out only once you have a symptom?
So regarding all these 3 points about trigeminal neuralgia, aneurysm, AV malformation, most of the malformations and aneurysms may be silent. So only on incidental MRIs we may be able to see. Symptoms, when they come, they are very devastating. So a low degree of suspicion should be kept for any patient with seizures, headache, or any neurological deficits. Regarding trigeminal neuralgia, awareness is very important, because there's a lot of emotional outburst which is silent and people keep suffering. In fact, the pain is so severe that they go into anxiety, depression, because of the suddenness and the sharpness of the pain. In fact, when we were taught in MBBS, it was told that it's one of the worst pains which somebody goes through. And they keep suffering silently. They stop going outside. A gentle breeze, which is a welcoming thing for most of us, can be very devastating for them. Ice creams, cold things, they cannot eat because it stimulates the trigeminal nerve. So this awareness, this can be treated, and you have to come out and you have to kind of meet a neurologist. This is very important.
Okay, when you say this, clearly the idea is not to create panic, but the idea is awareness, and that we all as a society realize that there are certain health concerns that are real. And Dr. Bagai, I know that you've been a votary of a lot of this conversation, whether we as a society are doing enough, whether it's about depression, whether it's about neurological issues, and it's about any other thing. But what do you believe that people should do? The moment they hear something like this, the idea is not to create panic or, just start Googling and figuring out whether you could have those symptoms and then perhaps get into a tizzy or run for an MRI. But what really are the SOPs that one must follow?
I think the key carry-home message is that health issues should not be a taboo. Any medical condition should never become a stigma. Unfortunately, in the Indian scenario and the diaspora, if someone is unwell, people are treated with suspicion or with some sort of unkindness, if I may say, be it tuberculosis or leprosy or any other transmissible or non-transmissible disease. The question here is there is no cause of panic. random screening is not advocated. But if you have severe headache, there are two important things. Check the eyes, check the blood pressure, and if the headache is still persistent, please get initial imaging, at least a CT scan, if not an MRI of the brain. Point number two, with regards to the trigeminal neuralgia, this is something which involves the facial nerve. It's in the angle of the mouth and the jaw. If you have tingling sensation, excruciating pain with or without movement, precipitated or exaggerated by change in temperature, then definitely consult a doctor. The last carry-home message is, do not self-medicate. Do not have self-guilt. Don't have a feeling in the mind that why this happened to me. These medical conditions are entirely treatable. They can be very well controlled. The patients can go back to normal lifestyle, normal work ethics, normal routine. Even children can go back to schooling. So there is no cause of fear. Important thing is to go to the doctor in time and get the necessary investigations as advised.
All right. Before I get more perspective and details, I want to play out once more for viewers tuning into the broadcast. What are we talking about? What is it that came in from the actor Salman Khan?
Can I please excuse myself?
Yes, Dr. Bagai, I'm just going to come back to you, but we'll just play out that response from the actor right now.
हमें जो जितनी भी हड्डियां तोड़वा रहे हैं, पसलियां टूट गई, ट्राइजेमिनल था, न्यूराल्जिया, उसके बावजूद काम कर रहे हैं, एनेरिज्म है ब्रेन में, उसके बावजूद काम कर रहे हैं, एवी मैलफॉर्मेशन है, उसके बावजूद चल रहे हैं, एक्शन, यहाँ से कूदना, वहाँ पर गिरना, चलने को नहीं हो रहा, डांस कर रहे हैं, और ये सब चल रहा है, ये सब साइड में.
Dr. Sethi, let me weave you into this part of the conversation where the very fact that you have an actor today talking about this, it clearly breaks a lot of those barriers, but more importantly, it also shows you that life can go on as normal. Even if you have a disease that you might not know much about, it is important that you don't dread everything. You take it in your stride because everything possibly has a cure.
Deepti, I agree with you. I think my philosophy has always been every medical problem does have a solution. Aneurysms, like we have said, they are vascular malformations of the brain. They can, if you have an aneurysm, if it's of a large size, if your neurologist feels that it's going to likely rupture in the future, you can get a surgery for the aneurysm. They clip the aneurysm. You can have the aneurysm coiled, and the problem is taken care of. And it's not going to come back again. Same thing with the AVM. If an AVM is likely to bleed, the AVM can be surgically resected, taken out, and that solves your problem. But the question is, like we have been trying to say, not every aneurysm, not every AVM needs to be surgically treated.
Yes.
The smaller ones are just watched, and you keep the patient under observation. You reassure them, tell them there's nothing to worry about. It's a small aneurysm. It may never rupture in your lifetime. You might live to 90 years of age, healthy life, and it may never bother you.
Yes.
On the other hand, trigeminal neuralgia is a different condition. It's the trigeminal nerve, the facial nerve, which is getting pressed on. It causes a lot of facial pain. Pain is always a distressing feature. You always want to give the patient pain relief.
Correct.
And nowadays, there are some very good medicines for trigeminal neuralgia. And in the vast majority of patients who have trigeminal neuralgia, the pain gets managed by good medicines and they don't need any treatment.
All right, I think that's a good note, only for what of time, to wrap this conversation on. Dr. Sethi, Dr. Kaustubh, and also Dr. Bagai, I thank all of you doctors for your time and your perspective on that show. With this, it's also now turn for us to quickly head into a break, but on the other side, there's lots more coming up.
There have been 4 alerts which have been sounded off here. In fact, what we can confirm is that one missile did hit a residential building in Beersheba. As I speak, you can hear the air raid sirens going in. So I will have to make my way up and see if we can find us a safe place. This is the announcement being made. Listen into it. We are coming to you live from this location which was hit in Beersheba, a residential high-rise. ruins of this building tell you the cost that this war, the 12-day war so far, has taken.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru, only on NDTV 24x7. Is your business future ready? Join the 13-week strategic ESG certification program for business sustainability and growth for CXO and business leaders by NDTV, Terry and Zenora. Master global ESG frameworks, gain real-world tools, and lead with impact. Starts July 13th. Enroll now and power your business with sustainability.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
There have been 4 alerts which have been sounded off here. In fact, what we can confirm is that one missile did hit a residential building in Beersheba. As I speak, you can hear the air raid sirens going in. So I will have to make my way and see if we can find us a safe place. This is the announcement being made. Listen into it. We are coming to you live from this location which was hit in Beersheba, a residential high-rise. Ruins of this building tell you the cost that this war, the 12-day war so far, has taken.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of maximum city is infectious. I'm bringing that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage.
Welcome back. Let's get you this quick breaking update just a day before the 50th emergency anniversary. This is the new government versus the Congress flashpoint. Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, has invoked the emergency horrors yet again, and he says that this was the darkest chapter of our democracy. There's a huge political row that has also erupted over this entire issue. And in fact, the Union Home Minister, Amit Shah, is speaking about this. And he says that it may be 50 years since the emergency of 1975, but the injustice, atrocities, and the dictatorship, he says, of the Congress are still in everyone's memory. Then he goes on to say, today I am going to be amongst the intellectuals at the program that is called 50 Years of Emergency and will share my views on the darkest chapter of democracy. Vasudha is with us. She brings us more perspective. Vasudha, once again, this is an issue, an Achilles heel of the Congress. The darkest chapter of democracy is how the Union Home Minister Amit Shah calls this.
That's right, Deepthi. Remember that emergency has been one of those very difficult times for the country. And every time the Congress party accuses the BJP of destroying the autonomy of institutions, the BJP often brings up the emergency, and rightly so, because that was the time when we did see the death of several civil liberties. Today, what is going to happen is just on the eve of 50 years of imposition of emergency. There is going to be an exhibition at PMML, which is the Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya. Incidentally, it's also what used to be the residence of the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru. And this is where the Home Minister is going to deliver a speech, and he's going to talk about the kind of difficulties that people faced from 1975 to 1977. In fact, there's a huge exhibition that has been put up, which celebrates the first non-Congress government that was headed by Morarji Desai, former Prime Minister. It also talks about the kind of challenges that civil society activists and also journalists faced during this emergency period. It also talks about Gujarat Navnirman movement and also the JP movement that also in some ways led to the fall of Indira Gandhi government in 1977. So it's very important to understand that politically for the BJP, the emergency is a very strong evidence point to prove that there have been instances in the past where civil liberties and freedoms of people have been crushed upon. And this is the BJP talking about this again and again so that the Congress does not forget what really happened during emergency. And this is the Home Minister himself taking the lead. The BJP has also asked all of its state units to carry out Mashal Yatra and to conduct press conferences and also hold exhibitions to spread awareness amongst people, to let them know what the country went through during emergency.
So they're breaking more details on that big story. For the moment, thank you. Let's quickly switch our gears to get you our next breaking update. And this is on what's been happening vis-a-vis Iran and Israel. Now, Donald Trump has spoken on the ceasefire violations. He says that Israel and Iran have violated the truce. I think he's speaking right away. We can listen in.
Like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either. All I do is play both sides. I'm going now, as you know, to NATO. Some of you are going with me, and I think it's going to be successful. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Are you going to see the agreement? It's a new dawn in the Middle East. Thanks to the agreement you managed to achieve. What are your future plans for the region, for Saudi Arabia, Israel, Gaza, the hostages?
Look, you're asking me about women in the Middle East. It's getting a lot better. Things are happening at a high level. As you know, Saudi Arabia's done a really good job. It's coming out far faster than I thought. So we're very happy about what's happening with women in the Middle East.
No, I'm talking about a new dawn in the Middle East that you managed to achieve last night. Yeah. The region is going to a new place with this agreement. Can you tell us what's your future plans for Gaza, for the hostages?
It's a new dawn. I appreciate the question. You're very nice. Who are you?
Thank you. I'm Neria Kraus from Israeli Channel 13 News.
Well, we have to have Israel calm down because they went on a mission this morning. I got to get Israel to calm down now.
Did you get to speak with the Prime Minister? Did you talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu last night?
I speak to everybody.
You urge both sides not to violate the ceasefire, but reports coming from the region suggest that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So
I think they both violated it. I don't think I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it, okay?
Have you spoken to him this morning? How confident are you that Iran's capabilities have been completely demolished?
I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. And the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean.
You don't believe that Iran can rebuild its nuclear program?
No, Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people, and the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times, but the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
All right, Donald Trump, they're saying, I'm not happy with Israel, not happy with Iran. And he also does say that Israel needs to calm down. Iranian nuclear capabilities are gone. There's a big warning coming in for Israel. He says, do not drop those bombs. If you do it, it is a major violation. Bring your pilots home, says Donald Trump now. And this is just hours after you have seen the announcement by Donald Trump of that ceasefire that has taken place, he said, and that's going to happen between Iran and Israel. That's what he tweeted late last night. These are his comments before he leaves for the all-important NATO summit. And I want to see if we can get in Disha, who's with us right now, as we saw that story breaking in real time. Disha, Donald Trump making it absolutely clear that, yes, there have been violations. Violations essentially from both sides. Iran, for the moment, has said it has not violated anything. But he does say that Israel also needs to keep its calm and not drop those bombs.
So Trump really making it clear and really reprimanding Israel here, and because earlier we saw that Israel was claiming that Iran was the one who violated this truce that was reached earlier today. But now Trump really making it clear that was not just Iran, Israel in fact also violated the ceasefire, and really warning Israel that do not drop any more bombs on Iran or do not try to violate this truce further. And in fact this comes as we saw him speaking, this was coming just as Trump is heading to NATO, and in a sense many were expecting him to take some sort of victory lap given the fact that he was able to agree both Iran and Israel to some sort of truce agreement. But now we have seen that this truce has completely collapsed with both sides trading strikes, and in fact from the IDF we know that 4 people were killed in Israel earlier today, and now Trump really making it clear and in a very harsh tone really warning Netanyahu, warning Israel that do not try to strike Iran further, do not drop any more bombs, essentially saying calm down, come back to the table and respect the truce that was reached. But really, Trump is now in a difficult position given the fact that he was the one who really announced this truce. In fact, just hours after he did announce this truce, Iran was saying that we have not reached any sort of agreement yet. There was a lot of conflicting reports. But now Iran continues to deny that they hadn't fired any missiles, but Israel has continued to claim that it was in fact Iran who struck a key city in Israel where 4 people were unfortunately killed. And now we have to wait and watch to see what Israel really does next. But really harsh words coming in from US President Donald Trump. But he also reiterated the American claim that all of Iran's nuclear capabilities have absolutely been destroyed, and completely trying to basically reiterate, saying that the satellite images and all kinds of analysis that is being done, that it has not been destroyed, is false, and that American airstrikes have completely destroyed Iran's nuclear capabilities, and that Iran will not be able to rebuild their nuclear program.
You know, Disha, many would say that this is a dire warning that Donald Trump really has given to Israel right now. But the point is that this is really a war that also got escalated with Israel doing what it did. And clearly this raises a lot more questions on what's going on. What's the larger picture we are talking about?
Absolutely, because even in the soundbite that we just heard from President Trump, he made it clear that it was Israel who really dropped those big bombs on Iran, which really escalated the situation. And while Iran did retaliate, he's called the retaliation even yesterday on the US bases in Qatar as weak, as symbolic, and he in fact even thanked Iran for giving advance notice. So saying that, on the other hand, really emphasizing that it was Israel who escalated the situation. It is Israel who needs to calm down, and Israel who needs to stop its attacks.
All right, but when you say this, Disha, what is the real situation right now? Does the situation still continues to be volatile, considering that it's Donald Trump himself who's come out and acknowledged that yes, that ceasefire has actually gone in a tailspin? I'm not sure whether there has been a conversation that he had with Israel and Iran before he went to the social media to talk about this, but a lot of action that we have seen late last night with that apparent attack on that air base that belongs to the US in Qatar.
Yes, so as of now, we do not know whether Trump has actually spoken to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu or the Iranian leadership. What we do know is the fact that the Israeli Defense Minister and the Israeli leadership has made it very clear that they are going to respond with force to the Iranian violation of the ceasefire, and very strong language coming in from the Israeli leadership that they will respond. There is no question of that, and that it will be forceful, and it will have harsh consequences. But we also know that the Gulf leaders, who are of course quite worried given this escalation ever since the American strikes, but also yesterday when Iran retaliated, there was quite a lot of condemnation from all the major Gulf leaders. But today they're also going to be meeting in Doha. It's an emergency meeting of all the Gulf and Arab leaders to come together and understand what happens next and how to ensure that this situation is de-escalated. We're also seeing reactions from across the globe from other Western leaders like France, who are saying that Iran needs to come to the table. Many are saying, have only mentioned Iran, not Israel, but the Gulf leaders really emphasizing that both leaders need to come to the table and work out some sort of truce that lasts, that's not short-lived, that doesn't get violated within hours, which we saw in this case.
Yes, and he also did say that Iran will never be able to rebuild, Disha, the nuclear program. And that continues to be the big bone of contention. We'll continue to track that story. For the moment, thank you so much for getting us perspective to that big story. So Donald Trump, in his own typical style, has put out that dire warning for Israel. He says, do not drop your bombs, get your pilots back home. And he's also said that Iran, for the moment, is in absolutely no position to rebuild its nuke programs. What happens next? NDTV will continue to track that story. Let's switch gears back home to a lot of domestic politics, particularly in Karnataka and in the Congress party there. This is the third MLA who's spoken out in just the last 5 days. Now, this particular MLA is hinting at a change of guard. Will DKS take over from Siddaramaiah? Now, this is the MLA, Shivaganga, who says wait till December. Earlier, you would recall that there were 2 MLAs who spoke on corruption. So is this a countdown for Siddaramaiah? Siddaramaiah, interestingly, is in Delhi today. There is a lot of buzz of this so-called leadership change. And as you heard this Congress MLA also speaking of, it's DKS's turn now for the Chief Minister. We are continuing to track that story. But first up, let's listen in to a quick response also that has come in from the Deepak Live.
ಹಣೆ ಬರೆದಾಗ ಏನು ಬರೆದಿದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ ನಂತರ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ನೋಡ್ಕಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಅದಾಗಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರು ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಅದಂಗೆ ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ ನಂತರ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
Congress MLA says wait till December, there is going to be a change. But not the very first time. Remember, ever since you've seen this government of the Congress party installed in the state of Karnataka, the buzz was that this is on a rotational basis, both between Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar. But that change of power has never happened. And there are clearly groups here, there are clear equatories and differences that do come out in the open. But like I said, multiple times you have seen both Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar heading to the national capital, speaking with the Congress High Command, but we haven't seen them going in for any kind of change. Will they do that now? No one knows, but clearly this also tells you that there is a lot of discomfort. In fact, there are a lot of MLAs on both sides who do talk about the fact that wait till this time, there's going to be a change, and now we should have DK Shivkumar as the Chief Minister, Deepak. And it's not the first time that we are talking about this story. It's not going to be the last time, Deepak. But does the High Command even have a plan? Or this is just a lot of posturing by both the groups?
Well, there is definitely posturing that's involved. There are loyalists, of course, who want their own leaders to take charge. But time and again, the High Command has made one thing clear, that don't make such sort of comments. Don't talk about the change in leadership. In fact, Mr. Siddaramaiah, Mr. DK Shivkumar himself, they themselves, in fact, have told their supporters not to make these sort of statements. But it continues. On one hand, you have, Congress legislators talk about corruption within the system. You have some of them saying that they don't have funds. You have some of them saying that they'll resign. Now you have some of them saying, well, wait till December, things are going to change, and my boss could become the Chief Minister, and that would mean that I would become the Chief Minister, and so on. So a lot, is riding on, how the Congress internally really resolves these sort of issues, because the opposition is just at the doorstep, waiting to pounce on any sort of issue that is given to them, and it seems like the Congress right now is handing it to them in the platter.
We haven't clearly heard the last word yet, Deepak, on that story. Like you said, it's a redux. It keeps happening again and again. But for the moment, thank you for getting us the latest. Let's move on to get our viewers the next update. This is a probe into emails threatening blasts at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. But before I get you more details about that, this is a story about a jilted lover's revenge. In fact, a lover refused to marry a woman, and then this picture that you see on your screens, she was sent to 21 bomb threats. In fact, used her tech skills to create a lot of panic, is what we can tell you. And this included the Narendra Modi Stadium also in Ahmedabad and different places in 12 states that has unraveled a tale of unrequited love and vengeance. Now, Reni is the woman that you see on your screens, who had allegedly taken responsibility to crash Air India plane in Ahmedabad, who's behind the threat emails, is what we are learning. The Gujarat cops have arrested her. She has allegedly done this to defame a man. Wondering why? Because he rejected her marriage proposal. The man marries another woman, the accused Rene, then decided to avenge this rejection. The police found that she had created 21 fake email IDs that resemble this man's name to send those 36 bomb threat mails to schools, to colleges, to cricket stadiums, etc. She also, interestingly, uses multiple VPNs, fake IDs, and the dark web to be able to hide her identity and her location. A class 10 girl murders her mother with the help of a lover in a shocking crime that has been reported under the jurisdiction of Metchal's Jedamala police station. A 10th grade girl murders her own mother with the help of a boyfriend and his brother. This incident has been reported from the NLB Nagar, where the victim, a 39-year-old Anjali, was killed by a 16-year-old daughter. According to the police, the girl, along with her 19-year-old boyfriend and his brother, who was 18 years, strangled Anjali and then bludgeoned her with iron rods. Let's get more details of this extremely horrific story that Uma is reporting on. Uma, it's hard to believe that something like this could even happen. What more details do we have?
So horrific, shocking, disturbing is probably an understatement for something like this, because this is hardly a 16-year-old girl, a 10th class student who has planned, we are told, and manipulated her boyfriend and his brother into murdering her own mother. What we understand is that the 16-year-old girl had eloped about a week ago, and she returned 3 days ago after the mother had complained to the police, and the couple was brought back, we are told. And this girl had met this 19-year-old who is also accused in this particular case over social media on Instagram, is what her aunt is saying. And because the mother was angry and had stopped her from having the affair, the daughter was resentful and decided to do away with the mother. And yesterday, when she was doing a puja, that's when they went from behind and strangled her. And the aunt, in fact, says that even after that, when the mother didn't die, she called back the boyfriend and his brother, and then inflicted some more injuries on the mother to ensure that she did die. But I must point out that the police inspector to who I spoke, he did say that there was a case of disturbed kind of a family. She was a single mother with two daughters from two different fathers, and this very girl had in her class 7 also been to a juvenile home and spent a year there, but obviously she needed counseling and a lot more help in many fronts to have been a better balanced person instead of indulging in this kind of violence. Back to you.
All right, Uma, it's a heartbreaking story. For the moment, thank you for getting us the latest. We move on now. We get you our next update coming in from Udaipur, where a French tourist who was visiting the city has been raped by a youth. The woman who filed the FIR says that she had gone for a party to a cafe on the outskirts of the city with some other tourist friends and members of an event company. The French tourist was apparently part of an advertisement shoot and had come to Udaipur on the 22nd of this month with 2 other women friends. On Sunday night, the group goes for a party to a particular area on the outskirts of the main city, and police say that this is when the accused took the victim out for a smoke and then persuaded her to come with him in his car to see the sights of the city, but instead took her to his room where he sexually assaulted her. The police now are on the lookout for the accused. Harsha is live with us. She has more details. Harsha, is there any word yet on this accused? Where is he? Is the police hot on his heels already?
Yes, his name is Siddharth. The other name that he has is Pushkraj. And I spoke to both the police SP in Udaipur and to the person who's investigating this case. They said that he is from Chittorgarh in Gangrar. Now, he was part of this advertisement shoot, though, of course, the victim has not said in her complaint that she was here for an shoot, but that is what we've been given to understand, because they were out with these event management people out in the evening for dinner when this incident then happened. He is from Chittorgarh, he's from Gangrar. He had joined the group and he was also probably part of that shoot. They have definitely identified him. They're trying to trace him. Of course, the CCTV footage is very crucial of the place where they went to the restaurant for dinner, and the fact that it will show these two walking out, separated from the group after that evening. So all this is being sort of put together. It's some circumstantial evidence, as well as they're investigating the room where this happened, because remember, that is again very crucial, and the victim will be taken there. She has a translator with her, so she will be able to identify the spot where the crime happened. The police have, they said they were quite confident that they will catch the accused. So probably we will sort of expect arrests very soon. But very, very unfortunate to happen with a tourist who's visiting the city, because remember, Rajasthan is a state that depends a lot on tourism, and it prides itself on giving tourists a safe experience when they visit Rajasthan. So very unfortunate that something like this should happen with a tourist. The police have informed the French embassy about this incident.
Absolutely. Harsha, we trust you to keep us on top of that story. We'll continue to track that. For the moment, thank you for getting us the latest. And with this, it's also time for us to head into a quick break. But on the other side, lots more coming up.
"50 years of the emergency."
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है।
India's darkest hour, June 25th, 1975. Lest we forget. The emergency. NDTV rewinds when democracy was suspended.
लोकतंत्र का गला घोट दिया गया था। भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई।
Indira Gandhi's assault on freedom. An NDTV special, Wednesday, June 25th.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
50 years of the emergency.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है।
India's darkest hour, June 25th, 1975, lest we forget. The emergency, NDTV rewinds when democracy was suspended.
लोकतंत्र का गला घोट दिया गया था। भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई।
Indira Gandhi's assault on freedom. An NDTV special, Wednesday, June 25th.
The last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Denzol Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to.
Welcome back. There are fresh images of the US's Operation Midnight Hammer in action, where you can see the video of the B-2 bombers taking off on the mission.
Wish that these images also showed the actual terminal phase of Operation Midnight Hammer, but these are evocative, enigmatic, and in one sense really terrifying images of the B-2 Spirit stealth bombers leaving their base right before Operation Midnight Hammer. So these are the first official images released by the US Department of Defense of the exact aircraft that participated in the bombing of those 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. The images are not only the first images of the aircraft that conducted the bombing, they also include images of the aircraft that flew in the other direction, westward over the Pacific, in order to create a deflection or a diversion to actually ensure that the bombing package, the ones that flew eastward towards Iran on that 36-hour epic flight, were able to do their job, while the world's attention was on this other spectacle of the B-2s flying westward over the Pacific. So incredible images of these, monstrous aircraft which are completely invisible in the air. The information that's been put out by the Department of Defense also suggests that this was a completely successful mission. These aircraft, these silent sentinels of the Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri is something to remember, because according to official information that's come out from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, is that not a single weapon was fired. There was absolutely not a single detection of these aircraft, and these aircraft are by no means new. They're 3 decades old. They're going to be replaced in a few years from now by an aircraft called the B-21 Raider, which looks very similar but is much more advanced. So these are aircraft that are in the autumn of their lives and yet have conducted one of air power history's most incredible, audacious, risky missions. So these pictures are going to go into the annals of aviation and military history.
News is not just headlines, it is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters is the reality. Accurate, in-depth, and with the right perspective. For over 20 years, I have been a journalist, and never has clarity mattered more than now. At Newsnight, we go beyond the surface. We dissect the details, challenge the narratives, and bring you the unparalleled clarity you deserve in a world clouded by misinformation. We are bold, we are direct. Newsnight, for the news in your interest. Only on NDTV 24x7.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24x7.
How often have you turned away from debates that descend into endless fights? We bring you a show where every question is answered, where every debate finds its resolution, where every story finds its conclusion, where opinions collide but facts prevail, where stories unfold with insights and trust. When the noise ends, the last word begins.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24x7. Is your business future ready? Join the 13-week strategic ESG.
Very good evening, viewers. You're watching Prime 5. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. We will talk about the big stories that are breaking right here at 5 p.m. on NDTV. But first up, as always, we start with the headlines. Donald Trump unhappy with Iran-Israel truce violations. US President says do not drop bombs. That's the clear warning he sends out to Israel. Donald Trump says have to get Israel to calm down as the US President heads to NATO, where he hopes that he will be able to speak about the peace and not its violation. Fresh visuals of America's Operation Midnight Hammer, video of B-2 bombers taking off on the mission, right here on your screens, viewers. Political row erupts over emergency as Home Minister Amit Shah invokes the horrors of emergency. Amit Shah says that was India's darkest chapter of its democratic tradition. Rumbles in Karnataka Congress grow louder as third MLA speaks out in 5 days. MLA hints at a change of guard. Will Siddaramaiah now be forced to make way for DK Shivakumar? We tell you all those details. All right, viewers, we start the show with breaking news that's coming in on the broadcast. DGCA, which is the aviation regulator, has initiated focused safety assessment at major airports. Night and early morning inspections will take place. And in fact, they have revealed serious safety concerns. And these are airports at Delhi and Mumbai, which handle massive volumes of traffic. What are the kind of safety concerns that have been raised, and more importantly, what will be DGCA's course of action? Let's get in my colleague Tanushka to answer all those questions. Tanushka, this has been a matter of grave concern ever since the Air India crash took place. Tell us, what is it that your sources are telling you that DGCA has flagged off as one of the major security lapses that it has found out?
Precisely, Gauri. So the DGCA has again come down heavily upon airports and air operations as well, especially considering that on June 19th, they had come out with their new safety directive. So it is to keep a check on whether these safety directives were implemented and actually put into place or not, that the teams from the DGCA conducted these surprise checks, early morning and late night checks across these two busiest airports, Delhi Airport and Mumbai Airport. And what has been found out in these safety checks is that multiple repeated defects and unserviceable ground handling equipment has been flagged during the checks. Safety lapses in aircraft maintenance procedures and record keeping has also been identified. The DGCA has issued a 7-day deadline for operators to address these issues and identify their own safety concerns as well, and to rectify them within a period of this week. Now, surveillance is to continue to ensure proactive hazard detection and safety enhancement as well. Ground handling equipment such as that of, basic stuff like baggage trolleys and luggage equipment, and all of this has been, sought after with lapses in the surprise DGCA check that was taken place. Back to you. All right, Tanushka, I'm going to keep coming back to you with updates on that, but I want to now turn attention to more breaking news that's coming in on the broadcast. Viewers, reports are telling that Donald Trump has called Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Reports indicate that Donald Trump has demanded that Israeli strikes that were planned as retaliation to the Iranian strikes earlier today are being cancelled. Remember, a short while back, Donald Trump had said that he's ordered and asked all those strikes to be cancelled. And update coming in is that Donald Trump has spoken in no uncertain terms very clearly to the Israeli Prime Minister to back off. Let's get in Disha Bakshi, my colleague who's been tracking all those details, for more on this. Disha, in no uncertain terms, Donald Trump has said that he wants this ceasefire that he's brokered. He's hoping to get a Nobel for it. He wants that this ceasefire should hold. And for that, Israel needs to hold its fire back. And that's what some of the reports are indicating that might just take place.
Absolutely. Even taking to Truth Social just minutes ago, he said that all Israeli planes are now heading back. There will not be any Israeli strikes on Iran, and the fact that the ceasefire is still in effect. So this is the big development now. Donald Trump taking to Truth Social. Just minutes ago, we heard him in a soundbite saying that he's very unhappy with Israel, very unhappy with Iran, really reprimanding Israel in very harsh terms not to drop any bombs on Iran, and the fact that it was the Israeli strikes earlier today which first violated the ceasefire, followed by the Iranian strikes. Now really making it clear that he has spoken to Netanyahu according to certain reports and has demanded that all planes turn back to Israel and that no strike is taken place on Iran. But we are also seeing certain reports indicating that Netanyahu has agreed to some sort of symbolic strike, symbolic retaliation on Iran, but it is not yet understood when that would take place and what it would even look like. But Trump really making it clear he's heading to NATO at the moment in Hague, where in a sense it was expected that he was going to, in a sense, take a victory lap and really show off the fact that he was able to bring peace to the Middle East. But then the developments that took place within hours after the truce and the alleged violations of the ceasefire, he has now made it clear that no, the ceasefire is still in effect despite these violations.
The ceasefire, the agreement that Donald Trump brokered, for which, as I said, he's hoping to get a Nobel Peace Prize for, he wants that agreement to stay. It has been violated earlier by Iran. That's what Israelis have said, something that Iranians have contradicted, saying that they did not fire any missile strike after the ceasefire went into operation. The moment the ceasefire came into being, they said not a single shot has been fired from their side on Israeli strikes, on any of the Israeli cities, even as the Israeli Prime Minister has vowed retaliation. Now, Disha, this is extremely important because it means that the ceasefire may just hold. That's what it seems like, because if Donald Trump has been able to convince the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to not fire any attacks, whether they are retaliatory or nature or not, that's being disputed. But if he has been able to convince Netanyahu not to fire any strikes on Iran, it means that the